Hi, it's Claire here, and welcome to Insomnia, the gaming festival. These are the job interviews. Yes, in this series, we are interviewing some of our lovely guests as themselves and in character to see if they make the cut for I-71 in September. And in this episode, you may recognise him from Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed, amongst other things. It's the wonderful Harry McEntire. Harry, thank you so much for joining us. We're really looking forward to having you at Insomnia, and this is your first time at Insomnia and your first time at like a gaming event, a gaming convention. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, all the other conventions I've done before have been that kind of hybrid, bit of TV, bit of film, bit of gaming, bit of this, bit of that. And actually, I'm super stoked about being somewhere which is just a space for stuff that I'm really excited about, actually, because since getting into the gaming world as an actor, I've started to tentatively get into it as like a player and a streamer and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And I haven't been to Birmingham since my second stint in Doctors, so it's a big day.
Oh, there's a really great barcade in Birmingham. Just putting that out there. There's a great barcade there.
Nice,
It's brilliant.
nice.
At some point, we always end up there. I wanted to ask you because you're a true blue nerd. I know that you like video games anyway. So tell me about the kind of video games that you grew up with.
I was a Mega Drive kid, and the first thing I remember a game called Road Rash, which was like this motorbike, like very aggressive motorcycling game where you were racing, but you were also punching people and hitting them with poles to knock them off their bikes or kicking them. Kicking was a harder skill. You had to time it really well, but also you couldn't save the game. And so there was this really steep difficulty curve that I never really managed to kind of match. And then Golden Axe, I really loved. In fact, I think my godfather's son had Golden Axe on his Mega Drive, so I used to get to play that. And like Streets of Rage, anything that had big fat slow strong person, man who could do everything quite well, and woman who was skinny and fast. Like that was the kind of era of gaming that I really came into as a kid. And then Pokemon Red was the first thing I ever bought myself. I bought myself a color Game Boy and Pokemon Red. And the guy in the shop, I remember saying to me, "Do you realize you're buying a black and white game on a color Game Boy? And that's an extraordinary waste of money." And I was adamant that I wanted it because it was one of those semi-translucent purple ones where you could see all the wires. So I
Yes.
had that and a Batman game, and and I think that might have been it. But I still have years and years later. I was working for the Royal Shakespeare Company actually, and this was 10 years ago. I got a bit bored backstage because there were some of the plays I had big parts in, and some of the plays I had small parts in. So I bought a Game Boy and Pokemon Red, and I used to play it in the wings from the beginning again.
Nice.
And it's still like it's the thing that makes me think of being off school. You know, like being off sick is playing Pokemon Red. That's my kind of happy place.
I love that. I love that you're an actual proper gamer, which is great. Like, so you're gonna love Insomnia. You're gonna absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Tell me, do you think that games are actually easier or harder now than they used to be? Now, the reason why I ask this is because I used to love GoldenEye for the N64, and I
Mm-hmm.
played it in the last year. I played it again, thinking that I was the hottest thing ever at this game. Couldn't play it. It's like
Oh,
everything.
really?
Yeah, I was like, this is too. It's almost like too simple. I'm used to kind of being able to do everything now, playing Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever. So and Halo, you know. So do you think games are harder or easier?
I just wonder. I wonder whether it's like trying to go back to riding a penny farthing, having ridden a push bike.
Yeah.
Like it's just actually, it's like a different coordination. I'm a really, really bad combat gamer. Like those kind of games that you've said. I'm terrible at, and also I never play anything online because I'm too scared of. I don't want anyone else in my narrative. I just want to sort of like, I just want to go through something at my own pace. But then I don't know. I didn't 100% it, but I completed the story of Ori and the Blind Forest, which apparently is known as being quite difficult. And I did it, but I can't get more than an hour and a half into Breath of the Wild without being like, I'm screwed. I haven't bought Tears of the Kingdom for that reason, because I find it so hard. And I don't know, I'm not a very good dodger. So anything where my shield will degrade or I have to dodge, I can't. can't do it. Couldn't play Uncharted either. I'm not good at sneaking. Like, it's a very narrow lane in which I operate.
I like how
want
it's getting more and more
I want
narrow.
story-driven stuff. Yeah, I just want a story where I can kind of reload it and no one minds or knows.
You know what? Chill vibes. I was just thinking, if you can't dodge, then avoid Elden Ring. Just avoid the Dark Souls games.
See, I really want to play them because I know loads of people in them as well. Like, and I was like, oh, that would be so cool, because obviously when Xenoblade came out, we had Ragnarok came out and Elden Ring, and they were the kind of obviously the two big hitters, and we were, along with like Stray and we were kind of the ones that were like around the edges of that stuff, and like Requiem, A Plague Tale, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, and I was like, oh, that would be great. I'll stream those. And then thought, no one wants that. It won't be one for the neutral. And all I'll get is my lovely streaming group being like, oh, it doesn't matter. And a load of people who want to see someone stream Elden Ring well going, who is this idiot? Why is he taking up bandwidth on this website?
No, not at all. Like, I had never played a Dark Souls game, and then somebody convinced me in my community to play Elden Ring, and I became obsessed. I actually became obsessed with it. So I would say down the line, if you have time, to consider it, maybe.
I may well. I'm playing Yakuza 0 at the moment.
Oh.
On the suggestion of Andy Farrant from Outside Xbox, was like, you should play a Yakuza game. So I'm really enjoying that. The little karaoke mini games.
Nice. And I wanted to ask about streaming. You mentioned streaming. How long have you been streaming for, and like what made you to decide to jump on stream?
I started streaming, I think, in September 2022, so September last year. And it was because Xenoblade came out and I wanted a way, like, I'm not a very good tweeter, I'm not a very good self-promoter or anything like that, but I was like, I should get back on Twitter and like say that Xenoblade's out. And the response was so amazing from the fans. Like, it's the biggest reaction I've ever had to any piece of work I've done, is the response I had from Xenoblade. And it is an incredibly lovely fandom, the Xenoblade fandom, really exceptionally so. And I was like, oh, I'll tell you what might be quite cool. I could maybe stream the game. Like, I was going to buy it anyway, because I'd worked on it for so long. I'd put so many hours into the recording, and the scale of the game seemed so huge to me. I was like, well, I should play this. And I was like, well, if I'm going to play it, why don't I share that experience with people? And then I played through the game and played through the DLC, and I finished in July. So that took me the best part of a year to do all that. And in between, I started like streaming other stuff. So I played a little bit of The Last of Us. I played Untitled Goose Game, completed that. I completed Untitled Goose Game.
Great game.
What a game. And then I tried to stream Portal, and I got 10 minutes in and I had to turn it off because I started dry heaving. I thought I was going to be sick.
Oh, really?
It gave me full motion sickness, and I was really embarrassed. And then what I've discovered about streaming is just a place to, like, as a creative, you don't really get to shape your own work very often. You don't get to be like, this is the kind of thing I want to do, and you get to curate your experience and your kind of community's experience through things that interest you. And suddenly there's no one telling me I can't just talk about, I just talked about D&D one time for like 2 hours, and other times you'll be like, I'm going to play a bit of Xenoblade, or I'm going to play Untitled Goose Game, or I'm going to do something that makes me happy. And you kind of learn that there are a group of people who are excited about that, and that makes them happy too. And it's the most tangible sense I've ever had of kind of contributing to a scene. Maybe that's the wrong word, but like a wider culture.
Yes.
And it's a great culture, and I really love it. And I love, like raiding, like we'd often at the end of every stream, we'd like raid a smaller Xenoblade streamer, someone who maybe had a couple of people watching, and we could raid them with like 300 people and just fill their stream with a load of good vibes. Yes. And I ended up like subscribing to some of these little streamers because they were just doing such a cool job, and I really enjoyed what they were making. And yeah, I love it. I really love it.
There's communities around the other bodies of work that you've done, like The Last Kingdom and things like that, of course, but there is something slightly different. It's not better or worse, it's just different with the gaming communities. Would you say that you feel that? Because I definitely feel that with gaming communities.
I totally feel that, and I think it's to do with the nature of how you interact with the media. Like, I love Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings so much, and once a year I back to back them all. Normally in between Christmas and New Year, when you've had a lot of family time, and you have a day where you just stay at home and you eat a lot of Chinese food and you watch all the Lord of the Rings back to back. And I feel like I know every frame of those films, but no matter how much I watch them, I can never be Frodo. Frodo's actions don't change based on my observation of him. Whereas I don't know what I did in the end. I think it was about 130 hours into Xenoblade and the DLC. Now, my version of that game, my route through that game, even though it's particularly peculiar for me because I'm voicing one of the central characters, that version of Noah is only my version of Noah, because his journey is what I dictated it should be. And the idiosyncrasies of, what he, like the moves he uses, the arts he uses, or the equipment that the party have in their kind of equipment and their items, is because of perfect or imperfect choices that I made. And therefore, when you're culpable for a character and you're culpable for the narrative, I think you connect with it and with the wider world of it completely differently. Like Dungeons and Dragons, which is like another big thing of mine. I always want to hear about someone else's Dungeons and Dragons game, because we're using the same raw materials. We're using the same, we're rolling the same dice, and we're, doing whatever, but everyone's journey is different. In the same way, the game's been programmed and the game exists, but how you make your way through it means that the connection you have with it, and therefore the people who make it, is completely different, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's about spending time, different sort of time with those characters. I think about communities that are around, for example, The Last of Us or Red Dead Redemption or whatever else. And I've interviewed the cast from some of those games, and you see the people in the audience just like because they have spent so much time with their families as well playing these characters. So it must be very special. Then, as an actor, when you meet the fans of those games, do you feel a special connection with those fans?
Yeah, and I can't quite kind of put into words how special it feels. Like, it really does feel, it feels like a real privilege, because they've invested time in you. They've supported you, and also particularly with the streaming, they've, like, in a real tangible sense, like through streaming and through being able to get subscribers and them, that enough people watching me that I could become a Twitch affiliate, I was able to make choices that I wanted to make as an actor, because I had a little bit of wiggle room. Like, I knew I had some money coming in because these people tuned in to watch my streams. And actually that's an extraordinary way of interacting with the community. And I think I always feel funny when people say humbled, because I think humbled is completely the wrong word, because if you're humbled by people telling you you're great, and I don't think you're humbled, but I'm incredibly honored by it and incredibly grateful for it. And it has so far exceeded my expectations of what it was going to be and what it was going to mean to me. I was like, this is probably a fun way. Maybe I'll get 6 weeks out of it and a few people might show up. And I think at one point, and and they're not huge numbers in the global sense, but like, I think I had 1,400 people watching once, and that blew my mind. Like, that's everyone who went to my secondary school. Although I hope it wasn't everyone who went to my secondary school, because that would be an extraordinarily uncomfortable way to reintroduce myself to everyone who went to my secondary school.
Hey, it's that guy. I went to school with
Oh my
him.
God. It's the guy from 8YS.
Yeah. Now, Harry, we need to speak to Noah from Xenoblade, because we have to, do a job interview. We can't just let anyone in to
No.
Insomnia. We can't. So I hope you understand if we could please speak to Noah now. I've got some questions to ask.
Yeah, sure. Watch me cock one headphone so that I can make sure I do his voice right, which is almost my voice, but to me isn't.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi there, Noah. How are you doing today?
Oh, it's wonderful to be here with you. Of all the places we could have been, here we are now, and that must mean something, I guess.
It really does, and it's an absolute honour to speak to you, but we have to do this job interview because you're coming to Insomnia. So my first question is, sell yourself to me, Noah. Tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I care deeply about the people I'm with, their community. I like to think I have some skills in leadership, or at least encouraging others to do their best. I mean, It's always nice to hear someone say "nice one" or yeah, good going. Those sorts of things. I like to think I can encourage and and I like to think I'm brave, or at least I found ways of being brave in situations I didn't expect to find myself in, and that must count for something.
You seem very sweet. Okay, I'm gonna put earnest here. We need someone with earnest qualities in the team. Okay. Now, why do you want to work with us, Noah? Because we have a long line of people dying to get through the gates of Insomnia.
Well, I suppose it's about challenging yourself. It's about putting yourself in situations and under pressure that you never thought you'd be under, and seeing if you can not only survive but thrive. And if I can put myself up against such great people and in such extraordinary situations, then maybe I'll learn something about myself as well.
Okay, lovely. Survive and thrive. That's almost as good as live, laugh, love. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much. I've cross-stitched it actually, and I don't have it now, but I will show it to you at some point. We have a lot of downtime.
Oh, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. There's some merch ideas for you. Now tell me, what is your greatest achievement, Noah?
Well, I did sort of save the world at one point, but as part of a wider group. I certainly wouldn't want anyone to think that I was the only driver behind the saving of the world, and my part in it sometimes felt significant, sometimes felt very small, but the collective did that. And I mean, really, you should have all 6 of us, and probably Rico and Manana, maybe 8 of us. In fact, we had some other very important, Fiona. I don't know how many spaces you have, but I could put together a team of maybe 15, 20, perhaps 30 people if we have space for everyone. I wouldn't like to take credit for things I didn't do, but I suppose I was there while those things happened.
Okay, I mean, we only have space for one. That's very sweet of you, but we only have space for one here through the gates of Insomnia. But you are a team player. Tell me about a time, apart from saving the world, when you were good in a team.
Well, I guess there are a lot of situations in which you try to do that, whether that's getting Manana the equipment she needs to cook, or the gem crafting, or just making sure Lance doesn't run endlessly into things that will kill him. You have to understand everyone's strengths and weaknesses, and then you can forge your own way as a group. That's much stronger than one person trying to be a hero all the time.
Okay, great answer. And finally, Noah, why should we hire you?
Oh, well, I mean, that's probably not for me to say, but I guess every now and then you need someone to make a speech that doesn't start off very inspiring, but or at least you don't think is going to be inspiring, and then by the end of that speech, in a roundabout way, they seem to have, I don't know, perhaps maybe even found a way of saying something about something that might make people feel like something's changed. I don't know if that really makes much sense, but I hope you understand what I mean, or at least understand some of what I mean, or perhaps, I don't know, maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, I am rather confused, but it also sounded convincing at the same time, so I'm going to say yes.
That's the sweet spot. Oh, that's such a relief. I can't wait to tell Mio and the others.
Great, and it's just you. Don't no one else. It's just you.
I'll still have to tell them. I couldn't keep anything from them.
Okay, thank you very much, Noah. Yes, we look forward to seeing you
pleasure.
at Insomnia. If we could speak to Harry again, please.
Yes. Ooh. Wow. My God.
Wow. Oh my God.
The improv's still so sharp.
You're a whole different person. That one.
Oh my! It's completely. It's just the ear. There we go, and it's just you put it back on.
Look at that. I wonder what. Oh, well, maybe I become like less Scottish with like one headphone. Like maybe
you kind of go Berwick upon Tweed, and then you gradually make yourself kind of down towards the Watford Gap.
It's like, oh, maybe I've become very London. Hello there. Yes.
This is great.
Oh yes, and then oh my God, I'm back.
Headphones wheel. That's it.
The magic of headphones. Harry, we are very much looking forward to having you in September. It's going to be blooming excellent. What would you like to say to people who are thinking about coming to see you at Insomnia? What do you want to tell the people?
I am super stoked to be in a space with cool people, creatives, fans, cosplayers, enthusiasts who make and care about exciting and brilliant work. And if that's up your street, and if you have ever come into contact with my work through any of these things and you fancy saying hi, that'd be flipping ace.
Excellent. Excellent. Can't wait to have you, Harry, and we'll see you very, very soon. Take care.
Hey, thanks so
Bye.
much. See you. Bye.